When the school is on the reserve, the child lives with its parents, who are savages. And though he may learn to read and write, his habits and training mode of thought are Indian. He is simply a savage who can read and write. It has been strongly impressed upon myself, as head of the department, that Indian children should be withdrawn as much as possible from the parental influence. And the only way to do that would be to put them in central training industrial schools, where they will acquire the habits and modes of thought of white men. John A. Macdonald, the first Prime Minister of Canada.
The way I see it is the way we as Listuguj need to have control over our own education. It's up to us to determine what's important for our children, what's important for our future. And it's through that education system that we can do that. So right now we have a team of people that's going out and looking at the governance or the current setup in education right now. And we have quite a complicated system where there's different boards in different buildings that all affected education.
Within education is still part of the Listuguj Mi'kmaq government. So I have an executive director I report to, and I'm all part of that structure. But with the LMDC, it has a board of directors, and that's who I report to with that structure. And with the adult education sector, it has the First Nation Adult Education School Council, so with 3 different governing structures that I report to, but responsible for all 3 programs, I guess, or sectors. So it makes it a bit of a challenge. There's some really great things about the sectors being all together, even though we're separate on the books, if you will, we still all work together, and sharing resources and knowledge and skills is what's really good as opposed to being all separate.
Education, my own view on it is one that's not, you shouldn't be compartmentalizing and taking different pieces apart and saying, this should be only chemistry, this should only be biology, this should only be math, this should only be English. The real world works where they all come together, right? And that's the way we see the education system working right now. We can't separate it by age or necessarily need. It's all about educating our people. So they all need to be working together.
If we continue to operate under the process that we're using now, there's a disconnect, and we need to reconnect. We need to reconnect ourselves as a people. We need to stop saying just because funding comes from this department or that department that we can't work together. We need to go beyond that if we're going to realize this vision.
Well, that's what makes it so exciting, right? As soon as we're together as one, and we are having that common vision, and we're all working toward, our strategic planning is all working together toward the same common vision. And that's what makes it exciting, because part of the plan is to have, is to create a curriculum development unit, as an example. And that unit would service the Listuguj Gitpa School. It would service training that's being offered at the LMDC in vocational training. It would service adult education. It would even go so far as to service the school in Campbellton to say, hey, this is how we want you to teach our children. It would just make it administratively a lot easier and to move forward in that common direction in education. But again, it needs to come from community. That direction, whatever it may be, needs to come from community.
So at this point, what we're trying to do is determine what is it that the community wants. How do we want to govern our own education? It's not a simple answer that we're going to get tomorrow, but it's something that we have to go out and talk about and develop and learn and create as a community.
I'm an administrator. That's what I am. So I see structure. Obviously, I want to build structure. I want to build policy. I want to build strat plans. I want to do all of that. But without the voice of the people, it's going to be meaningless. We can't have a top-down approach. That's not who we are as Mi'kmaq people. We all need to work together. So the community has to be involved. They have to tell us what they want for education. And then we can move forward and develop it.
Education, from our perspective, it's immeasurable. Education means so much more to us than it means to the mainstream people, because education, we realize now as Mi'kmaq, as much as it took away from us, we're going to take that and we're going to use that, and we're going to take back all that was taken from us. And that is manifested in a song by the late Chief Jack Wiseout, who wrote a song in Mi'kmaq back in the late 1960s saying exactly that we've been dishonored for so long, but he had a vision back in the 60s. He saw exactly what's happening today. He saw that our children were going to get educated. He saw that they were going to start questioning, the systems that had been imposed on them. He saw that they would learn to read and write and become lawyers and judges and high officials. And so he was a visionary, and he put that down in writing, and it's there for all of us to listen to.
Gold